Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and in this video we're going to try to show you a few little attachments, and we're going to go ahead and put our water wetter in today and see if it makes any difference. This is what I got to add with it, and I can't get over the name. They did pick a good name by Redline, water wetter. So super coolant. Now let's say something here about cooling on your air compressor. Yes, this is overkill, but I didn't do this because I needed all that cooling power. It did get a little hot before because of my setup. This is just going to refine it. It's going to make it that much better. So, you know, I did this because I wanted to do it, and I wanted to show something nice and do a station that would be worthy of its name. Bison. Anyway, so I've added a few things to it, and we'll put you down here and show you what we got. Don't forget to have your Trump coffee, and if you need some time, you've done this enough times, you already know to bring Trump coffee to the table to begin with. So it's your fault by now. So anyway, we've got this part, we've got this part, and these will go over top of these, showing this one goes in, this one goes out. So first thing we need to do is we need to just go ahead and take these two hoses loose. Alright, we just need to take this one loose. I'm going to tell you, these things fit so tight that this thing never needs a clamp. So I've already taken this one loose, and I hate taking these loose, and I hope I can get, well, I should be able to get that one loose. I'll just have to take the compression part loose. Alright, so we're going to take these loose. So now I got to get that compression fitting off. Alright, so now we got this loose. We can take it off. But didn't want to come out. Alright, so now put that up out of the way. Now this one I did an O-ring on. This one I chamfered the inside of that, and I put an O-ring on it, and that's how that one seals. So now we'll put these to the side and get my water up here before it leaks all over the place, which is what it was trying to do. Alright, so then I made these so that they would fit on there pretty tight. So I kind of wanted to actually put a little bit of thread in it. But it fits so tight that I can just push it down on there. And you can turn that any way you want. And it's pretty tight on there. So we're going to have it so that it's pointing forward. Alright, and then we've got the in. Can't have the out without the in. Because otherwise, what would out be? Can't have out without in, and can't have in without out. Because where there's an out, there's an in. Alright, so so now we're gonna seal this up with some more of this stuff that I just wasted taking this back apart. And I knew I was gonna have to take this back apart, so I knew better than to waste this, but I wanted to test it. So anyway, and this thing doesn't have enough pressure to really do any serious leakage. So these don't have to be extremely tight. So I'll take it to where I can get one last turn out of it to where I need it. So I'm thinking that there ought to be pretty tight right there. So, and that was perfect. Landed right where I wanted. Alright, so now let's put this one back on. And we're going to use Teflon tape on this one also. Simply because it wouldn't hurt for these threads to be a little tighter. I went a little too deep with that one. That's the one that I drilled out bigger by accident. Well, not by accident, on purpose, but because I wasn't thinking. So that one's a little looser. So that's why I put the O-ring on it. But I'm going to put this thread tape down below the O-ring so that I'm just using it to tighten the threads up, that's all. Just to give it a little bit more tightening. Alright, so now we've got, that's the last turn. It's against the O-ring. So we put our compression fitting back on. Tighten it up. Now, daggone it. Alright, so now we've got that. So now we can go ahead and hook our hoses back up. So this one here goes over to this one. And basically hides this wire too, so you can't really see that wire because this hides it. Alright, so then hook this one back up. Alright, then I 3D printed these. And I'm just using a 6mm 1.0 threads, hex head, 10mm head bolt that come in my Harbor Freight kit. So now we're just going to clamp that right there. That's going to keep them two just like that. And then we'll tighten it up with our 10mm socket head. But before we tighten it completely up, we're going to go ahead and put our second one on there. We got a second one here. And this one is going to go right here. Now these are already tight enough on this that you don't have to have a clamp on it, but this actually helps the clamping process. Alright, tighten that one. tighten that one. So now you got a nice arrangement there. So now once this is done, I'll go ahead and put a zip tie on this one and a zip tie on this one. And let's do that now. Now, just so that everybody knows, this is not an original idea. This tank and a similar heater core has been used before to do the exact same thing. I'm not showing you originality. I'm showing you creativity. So we're going to go ahead, and I just wanted to put that in as a disclaimer. You know, this has already been done by the Yong Heng hot rod shop. And thumbs up to him for the videos on it. So now we want to figure out which way we want to put this, because we want to hide that head. So let's try. Let's see, when we go to pull, we want to pull this way, and we want to get it tight, but we want it in the center. And the reason I'm doing this from behind is we're going to try to hide it. So now that we've got it tight, now we're going to take this tail back through, and we're going to try to pull it a little tighter. And then you want to make sure that you can actually get your cutters in there and cut that. So now you can't see the thing on the back of it. So we only need one. Like I said, there's not much pressure on this. Yep, that's the right way. Alright, so now we're going to get that down pretty close. And then we're going to come around to this side. And we're just judging how far it's going to be before we can see it. So now we've got that in tight. Not exactly in the center, but oh well. So there we got that done. So now let's wet our water. Where did I put that water wetting apparatus? Alright, so now we're going to get some power to this bad boy. I got some wire policing yet to do, and so now let's go ahead and start our pump. And we don't need the fan. What we want to do is I want to watch. I'm only going to see this once. So I want to see how long it takes for this thing to actually flow through, get pumped through the system. And I want to watch the process of it moving. So bite me, guys. Alright, so we don't have no leaks. That's the first thing you want to make sure of. And if you develop any, you gotta fix. Alright, so we're going to see how long it takes before this changes. And I don't know, this little bit to that much, it might change a little, but it probably ain't going to change much. So we're going to go ahead and pour this in. And let's see how long it takes before the water starts turning red in the pipe. or the hoses. Oh, they're starting to change. Yeah, there's a slight change. Yeah, it didn't change my much, did it? You can barely tell. It probably get more eventually. Looks pretty red in there, but you're looking through less here. The deeper it is, the darker it'll be. So you're looking at a really shallow area here, so it's pretty diluted. Now, I don't know if you can get a dye for this, and I'm going to look to see if there is a such thing as a dye. That I can put in here to make that a different color. And look at that, I got a bubble. You know, you just tap it. But I'm just tapping it for this purpose only, just to get rid of the bubbles for the video purposes. But in actual reality, when I go to use this, I'm never going to tap those. So now let's go ahead and put our lid back on it. Good thing I don't have to do this very often, because that lid is a pain. Alright. Yeah, there's no way you're going to get all them bubbles out. There's places in here that can get bubbles. So now we've got our fuel gauge hooked up here, as you can see. Now it's not going to be hooked up for a while. That's going to be a later project. I really don't care about the fuel level. I wanted to put it in there just because that wire's there, and I don't like things to be there and not being used. If a lighter is in my truck, it must work. It doesn't matter how stupid or whatever it is, it's got to work. So now I've got going on the 3D printer a set of feet pads that are recessed for these pads to go down into. So basically what I'll do is I'll stick them in place with two-sided stick tape, but I also put a screw hole in the middle that's countersunk so that I can run a screw down through it, and I'm going to do both. The only reason I'm putting the two-sided tape on it is to make sure that it stays aligned. So when I lift this up off of there to put my feet in there, and I may not even have to screw it down on there, but the capability is there if I need it. So, you know, right now all I got to do is just put two-sided tape on one side of it, or the back side of it. Just raise that up, slide them in there, and stick them down on there. Now, when I go to take this off one day or whatever, and I want to add some screws to it to give it rigidity, I can do that. So the option's there. It's better to have it and not need it than it is to need it and not have it. So there we have it. I also added a bottle, a way to mount a bottle. Now this is not done. I'm going to paint all this black and paint this black probably. So, or maybe even wrap camouflage around it. I got some camouflage material that I can take and glue and put on the outside of this between here and here, and the rest of it be black. But this is for adding my tanks. Then I plan on building some kind of a 3D printed rack that mounts to this that has a cradle in it. And then I want to try to put something back here on this side, back here on the other side of this pedestal here, that moves up and down so that I can set my gun in it. So basically it'll just have a cradle. You'll just have a gun rack. So I can use this handle here and clamp something to it that has a cradle. And then over here have a piece of wood slid up with a little groove cut in it and some felt put in it, and that way I could just set my gun in there. Now I'll never use that. Now that's going to be a later date. I ain't going to do that right now. Right now I'm going to get it in the house and get it set up and ready to be used. Right now it's ready to use, and we've got the fan works on its own switch, but it also works with this switch here. So that'll work, guys. I don't know how long you're supposed to run these yong hengs, but that thing gets pretty hot. I've actually burnt myself by touching that right there. And I mean, it wasn't on very long. And it burnt me on my forearm when I was reaching over it, and I happened to touch it with my forearm to reach for that right there. So, yeah, these things get really freaking hot. It actually put a burn mark on me that had a scab. So that was pretty bad. But I'll give you a once over here. Move my makeshift. I'm thinking about making me a little roll around stool, and I'm thinking about using that crate as the candidate. I might find I think I got a black crate I might use for that, but turn it upside down or sideways or whatever, and use the inside for setting stuff in or whatever. Maybe even a drawer, who knows. But we'll have this thing polished up before you know it. And so there we got your tank with a aquarium water pump mounted inside of it right here, with the outlet coming up into this. Then it goes into the heater core, then it comes out of the heater core, goes into the head, then it goes through the head and back into the tank. Alright, this is a racing fuel cell that has a wire to connect a fuel level gauge, which I would rather have had a tube, and I could make a tube one. It would require me to make another set of these, but have the hole drilled in the side, so it would be, well, actually this here would work. If I was to take and turn these around and put clear glass in it, or clear plastic, it would be a level indicator. So you put the top up here and mount it, and then the bottom down here, and mount it wherever bottom is, and you thread that into it, your fittings, these fittings right here, and then put a clear piece of tube in it, and wherever the water level is, it would show. But that's just another option. So I want to paint that board black. I don't like the brown. I'm not thinking about putting any wire down here. I'm thinking about stopping that wire right here. And then I've got some of that black membrane that goes on camper roofs that I can glue in here, and it would tuck him inside these holes here. So that'll make that look a lot better. And then just put the screen only on this part. So then I made a switch panel box. I've got some temperature probes coming, 3 of them. I basically want the temperature of, I'm going to try to do the temperature of the radiator and maybe I don't know yet. Oh, I know. Temperature of the water, which will be the probe will be put in the radiator, and then I want to take and move this one up here. But I'm not going to take this one out. I'm just going to take this and put down inside there somewhere. Maybe find a place down there that I can monitor the motor temperature too. So then I'll run another one from here over to here to show the temperature of the head. So then I'll have the temperature of the motor, temperature of the head, and the temperature of the water by putting my probe inside of one of these fins. So the only other one that you would need would be a line inside the actual tank to get the temperature of the water in the tank. And I would like to do that, but I thought I had a leak there for a minute, but it's not. It's from where that water went down. Anyway, she's ready to go. So there you have my Yong Heng air compressor station build. At this point, everything's operational. I got to make some hangers, which will mount on the. I'm gonna make them out I'm gonna 3D print them too. They're gonna be something like the clamps, except they're gonna be a little more heavier duty, and they're gonna take 1/4 20, and they're gonna clamp on, one for the hose to hang on, and then I gotta hide all my wires. So everything's pretty much cosmetics from here on. I just wanted to show the operation and show you that you can do something and save yourself a lot of money. You know, keeping this thing cool. Anybody knows that if you don't keep aluminum cool, it'll melt. It'll break down. So, you know, the cooler you have it, the better off you're going to be. There's no sense in metal being that hot. So you gotta make an effort to try to cool things down, because heat for mechanical parts moving is not a good thing. So it's not like we're dealing with a engine in a car. That's a little different story. The piston is actually, the walls are frickin' lubricated. This is not. This is a dry fuck. So, and when you add heat, what the hell happens? I mean, it ain't no different than your pecker. You know, if you overwork the damn thing, it's gonna get too hot, everybody's gonna get sore. Anyway, you guys don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys have a good one. Later.